So we just finished up kind of helping you figure out how do you deal with millennials, how do you work better with millennials, and we're going to talk about this segment is we're going to talk about how do you respond to employees who are looking for more money.
Mm.
And this is a common challenge with millennials too.
Kick them out of the office, fire them. What do you think?
Be glad you got a paycheck, kid. Right? Come back to the old steel guy or the
That's
grumpy
right,
old guy again?
The old grumpy guy.
Yeah, so are there grumpy old ladies too, or just grumpy old men?
We had a few clients who are grumpy old ladies.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You don't have to dig too deep to find them.
All right. So yeah, I have an employee coming in who's looking for more money, because right, it's never enough, so they want more money. So how do you deal with that? You know, we've had numerous situations over the years. It can be very, especially if you're very sensitive to it, it can almost be taken as a personal attack, or it can become very emotional on both sides.
If you don't have the system in place to deal with that question, it's almost impossible to deal well with it. Well, what system am I talking about? Well, we like to promote inclusion in a company, and ultimately that leads to people writing their own job description, and that's done through some of the processes that we take our clients through. They end up writing their own job description, and the job description itself has to be signed off by them and their boss. And included in that job description are goals, both personal goals. How can the company help you? I don't care how outlandish it is. It may or may not survive the cut, but speak very freely with your boss. And then your boss is clarifying the goals of the company that you're involved with. So now we got the document to basically check performance and talk about something meaningful. So if you wander in one day just out of the blue and say you want more money, however you justify it, I can say, wait a minute, wait. We can pull out your job description with goals right now and kind of have a talk. I'm not quite ready for it, but in the next week, let's talk about this, and let's talk about the subject of money. Now, what are the policies, and how does the company itself dole out raises and increases and bonuses? How is that done? If we don't have answers to any of those, and if we don't have a system that says, here's what you were supposed to start to do, Adam, and it's 6 months into it, and we're getting close to evaluating your progress, and we're moving it up, and hey, you aren't doing too well on these things. You tell me why I should try to go to bat right now to give you more money. Company is whatever the company is. If it's rolling in CAD, it doesn't make any difference. It's you. Why should I give you more money?
Well, I think if we're on Family Feud here, Jack, and you're asking that question, how do most companies deal with raises and how it happens? The number one answer would probably be, I go in and ask for it or complain about it, or I threaten to leave.
Now I agree. What was the how question? Tell me the how question again.
The one that we're talking about now?
Yeah.
Is how do I respond to an employee who's looking for more money?
Okay, so it depends, which is always the great clarifier.
Now, often, here's what happens. The reason I say that, because again, a couple things. I saw this in my days in Wall Street. Okay, you have people and they're frustrated and they're upset, and eventually they're getting ready to leave. That was usually the point where they get a raise. All right, you had to threaten to leave, or it gets to the point where you do it. Most people don't even go and approach the boss to ask for some more money. So, first point here for me is be glad that the person's actually sitting down to talk to you about it, because that in and of itself will often be unusual. That's a good thing. Don't treat it as a hostile environment. Embrace it. Which is what you're saying, Jack. Okay, that's a good thing. I'm glad you're coming in to talk about it. I'm not ready to talk about it this second, but let's address it this week.
But wait, that's easily done if I have a system that anticipated that. If we have no system,
response. That's a good response no matter what, because the chances are that it took them months to come in and knock on your door, right? They didn't just wake up this morning and say, hey, I need to get more, make more money. It takes a certain chutzpah to kind of come into the boss's office. Ask for money.
Your earlier comment. Your earlier comment hit it right on the nose. Be glad you have a job, kid. What the hell are you talking about money for?
Wait a minute. Why don't you turn into an old steel guy? Just transforming right in front of my eyes here.
I think there's lots of old steel guys out there. And they aren't prepared for that question. That's for sure.
So my point is, embrace it. As much as it might feel like a kick in the gut to you, embrace it. because especially if it's a good employee, if it's a good part of your team, good member of your team coming in, you want to have this discussion and see what's kind of going on. One of the things that we encourage our clients to do is to have some surveys of different salaried positions to understand where you're paying people.
Right.
And these are pretty readily available these days. If you don't have one, maybe you can go to your payroll company. They can get you some stuff. There's different things you can find online. But you usually can get a sense, for a comparable job description in your geographic area, what's the typical range of what people get paid for that? And the reason that's important to know is we like to make sure that our clients are at the top 25%.
Right.
Because money is important as part of somebody's job, but it isn't the only thing that people care about. And so, if you're paying them in the bottom quartile, or the bottom 25%, okay, that becomes more of an issue because now they're being probably underpaid. If you're paying them the top 25%, you're paying them pretty well. And if you have other things that are part of what you're doing with them, if you're being inclusive, you're bringing them in, if they're able to grow, if they're able to get different things, the whole work-life balance thing you were talking about before, Jack. There are a lot of other things that go into what makes somebody enjoy what they're doing from a work standpoint. But if you're taking care of them from that standpoint, when they come in to ask you, hey, it's not like I'm way underpaying somebody, but okay, are they now worth more? Should they be moved up to the top of that?
Yeah, if employees, like so many owners say, if employees are our most valuable assets, well, you got to treat it like that. You got to have the systems in. You have to. It's almost impossible to run a company with over 10 employees, up to 25 employees, whatever the head count might be, without those systems. Everything then becomes reactionary and arbitrary. And you don't want to run a company like that.
No, we've seen it. We had a client, it's probably been 5 years ago now, and we were coaching the client for a little while, and the situation was such that we'd kind of broken away. We got to the point where that often happens, but we helped the client through a buyout where we had siblings that were there, and the one sibling bought the other sibling out, and the one that took over was a little more I'm gonna say fly by the seat of the pants kind of approach. The other guy was a little more buttoned down, and within 6 months of the buyout happening, a key employee came in, and basically it was a key employee who not literally but figuratively kind of put a gun to the owner's head. Hey, if you don't pay me this, I'm leaving. And
yeah, I remember that one well.
And so we get a phone call, which often happens. Whether it be for current clients or former clients, if some big item like this happens, usually we're one of those first phone calls that somebody calls to, because this owner again felt like he was angry, very very angry. Felt like he'd been betrayed. Couldn't believe that this key employee was doing it. Something that they'd known for a while. Was coming up and kind of laying things down like that for him. So he was very, very upset.
Very emotional.
So we were able to kind of...
Oh, wait, he wasn't prepared.
Well, he wasn't ready. I said more kind of fly by the seat of his pants type thing. It was kind of letting things go. And so we got him calmed down a little bit, and we counseled him to not offer the raise that this person was asking for. Kind of call his bluff a little bit. And he wasn't ready to go that route. He couldn't fathom his day-to-day life without this guy being there.
Right.
And having gone through what he'd gone through with the sibling, to say, to have to go through this too, just it was almost too much for him to kind of handle. So he said, you know what, I'm going to give him what he's asking for. Start out, but ask him to be doing more. Ask this key employee to be doing some more stuff for him in order to help justify what was going on. Because this employee wasn't being underpaid by any means, but was very opportunistic. And saw that, hey, there's an opportunity here where there's a change in ownership, things kind of going on. Hey, this is my big chance, right?
So what's our listening audience? How many people do you think have a plan for anticipating and handling that question when somebody comes in here out of the blue?
Well, before we head to the break, Jack, this story does not end very well.
Okay.
And so we can come back and announce the break and kind of share with people on that. But again, this story does not end well. But your point, it's a great question you're asking. How many are ready for those questions when people come to? Because you're going to get it. There'll be probably more often that you don't get it and somebody just leaves and you wish they'd come talk to you. But when you do get it, or you get whiff of that, or you get wind that somebody's not happy with what's going on, you want to have a system in place to kind of do it, but you got to be ready for those discussions. And so being ready for those discussions is having a lot of these things in place in terms of those plans. So
I don't see how you can do it without it. But
yeah.
That's me.
So we'll get into that, and we'll finish the story that we were talking about in terms of this employee coming in and basically putting a gun to the head of the owner, figuratively, not literally. That happens, and that's probably happened too. You could call us with that story if you got that story too. It'd be a great story to be able to hear about. Our number here in the studio is 440-946-9468. Give us a call. We can talk